I see an athlete come into my office, I try to get them to buy into what their diagnosis is and try to get them to understand that I'm there not to keep them out of the sport, but to get them back as soon as possible. I'm on their side. So as a former athlete, I can relate not only to the obvious part, and that's the injury, but the very complicated aspects of the athlete's pain, the pressures they may be undergoing, the need to get back and be competitive, because these kids are under a tremendous amount of pressure to get back out and play.
Well, we always try to push the ball up the floor. Can't always get them to do it. You can't take the ball out of bounds and push it up all the time. So it probably starts at the defensive end. We got to get them to buy into playing defense, not just for a short time, but for the full possession. Got to finish the possession off with a rebound. And then we just got to run out and push the ball up, especially this year because we're going to lack the size, and to compensate for that, we're going to have to score in transition more. It's certainly going to be a factor, but we've always tried to take care of that base, and we've tried to, make sure that we're in good shape. We do have the depth. I traditionally, if we have a balanced team, I play 10 guys and rotate in two groups, and not necessarily 4 minutes all the time. If I got a Gabe Sturgis or a Brad Brittingham, they would stay on the court and we'd go 4 and 4. But so it just depends on who we have, who steps up, but at the same time, it's a senior-dominated team, and we have a really good group of juniors. So there's going to be some competition within the team, and so we'll take care of the conditioning part just with our regular practice routine, and then I think we have the depth to keep up the transition, keep up the pace over the course of the game, even when we sub. I think nowadays, the way kids are, it certainly helps. It's tough to find, back in the day, you could find a kid that was just happy to be on the team. And it gets very difficult now with parents and some of their expectations that if he's on the team and if he shows up for practice, they kind of, go backwards and think it's a junior high setting. Now, I'm not afraid to step up and say, we're going to go with 7 if we have 7 that are heads above the others. But until I have that, I'm going to, do what I can to get players in. So yeah, I think it does help them, motivate them over the course of the year and keep them involved. And it's just good to have your bench cheering your other kids on, that are on the floor. So, well, we have 12 total players. We have 7 seniors. We would have had 8. We lost Brett Prell on the next to the last football game. He blew his hamstring, had surgery, so he's out for the season. And we lost Spencer last year, who potentially was our best player, and Brett was potentially our best player this year. So, that's just the luck of the draw, I guess. But so we'll have to overcome that. Team will have to pull together. Maybe score by committee a little bit more. But Brett was one of 4 kids that we brought up as sophomores. So obviously we'll have 3 of those. They'll be in their 3rd year on the varsity. We have Parker Kubashik, who played a little more than half the season last year as a junior, as a junior on the JVs, and then he came up. And the same with Chris Frame. He came up toward the end of the year. So 5 of those kids have had varsity experience. Jacob Coronet and Ebony played on the JVs the whole year as juniors. We had a number issue, and we were overloaded on the varsity, so those kids got to go down and get what I think is valuable playing experience. And they can come right in and they compete. They're going to be, in the picture. We got Logan Vaughn, Gabe Keely, and Brandon Hinckley are the 3 of the 4 that are returning that were not injured in football. But Gabe Keely will be our point guard. He's going to be our leader. Logan Vaughn was all conference last year. He didn't have great numbers, but a very solid player. And then we have Brandon Hinckley, who just struggled last year for him. And we just hope that he comes out of it this year because he is a very capable shooter. He can drive the basketball. And with all 3 of those guys, we got decent speed, quickness. the ability to shoot the three, and the ability to drive, which I think are the three things you're going to look at. And then the junior group, we have Dane Wilson, a very athletic young man, was a leading scorer on the JV team. He also was brought up toward the end of last year and got a little varsity time. Chase Tomlinson and Zach Greenwald, and Daniel Alva was a wrestler last year, and he is coming out for basketball and committing this year to basketball. And then we have Harrison Sillings as another junior. Dane is one that can definitely probably step in and help right off the bat. Zach Greenwald played a little bit on the varsity last year. He's our biggest kid, our strongest kid. And with our lack of size, there's going to be times that we're going to have him out there to rebound. Chase Tomlinson is a great kid, very coachable, and again, all those kids with the exception of Zach, who's I'm not going to say he's a true post guy, but he's the closest thing we have to it. Those kids are all very decent speed, decent quickness, decent shooting ability. So because of that, it gives us the depth. So that's our crew going into this year.
I think we have a good team. We're short. We have no height. We lost our biggest guy. It was named Brett Pro. We're going to have a lot of speed, that's going to help for us. We're going to press a lot, probably the whole game for us, because we got speed. We do a lot of conditioning. Logan Vaughn, I feel like he's our go-to player this year. He can shoot three, he can drive in. Brendan Hinkley, he can shoot. I know he can shoot, and he's been both of them been 3-year starter. Chris Frame, he was on JV last year, move up in second half of the season. He can shoot, be a good guy on defense for us, good body for defense. And Parker, he's got good size. He's been playing basketball pretty much the whole summer with just free for all, like street ball. He's been really good. He's a good shooter. Then Zach Greenwald, he's a good big body for us this year. He improved over the summer. He's been hitting the weight room every day since after football now. Thompson, he's a good shooter and he's a good driver. I feel like he's going to be really well this year. During the summer, I was down at our barn that we have a half-court basketball hoop in down there at Doc Smollers's, and I was down there just messing around, shooting around. We have a machine that brings the ball back to us, and I just been doing that with Andrew Smollers, and we just practice shooting a lot. The key thing is defense for me. Yeah. Defense. I'm learning for offense in that. Getting a little better at shooting in that.
I believe what we have to do as a team, first of all, because of our lack of height, we're going to have to rebound. Play good defense and finish the possession with a screen out and a rebound. That's going to be, I think, our biggest thing. And as a team going from last year to this year, we have returning players, and we just have to get better at not turning the ball over. And I know everybody says that, but we just thought we were too good a team to turn over as much as we did last year. It was kind of a setback when we lost Spencer. He was our main ball handler, had the ball in his hand most of the time. He leaves, and now everybody's got the ball in their hand, and you got to figure out how to do it. So I think that we got some valuable experience last year because if there's a silver lining, if that was possible, in losing a player, that the other players got to handle the ball and experience that, and I think it's going to make us better this year to cut down the amount of turnovers that we had. Well, our league has 3 divisions. Usually our division is the toughest. That doesn't mean that the others can't compete, but Climax has a scorer, Dallas Frohype, I believe his name. He's a prolific scorer, be very tough to contain. I would say they would have to be the favorite. St. Phil has lost a lot, but St. Phil can reload because of their situation, so we don't know what they're going to have. And Bellevue, Joe always comes up with a very solid team in his 2-3 defense and keeps you in the game. So our division is always going to be the tough one, and we usually do really well outside of it. And So we're looking forward to it. We think with our seniors and a pretty good attitude group that I think we're going to be more competitive in our division. That's what we hope.